Hey, this is Politics with Laura, and oh my goodness, I got a good one for you today. I like the instrumental. Now, I pose a question. Can a conservative or can a conservative and a liberal be friends and have a real friendship, even though that your ideology and your philosophical foundation are completely different, but you can still have a relationship? I say, yeah. Even though the height of the political tension, the atmosphere, the political climate is, it's all over the place. People are going according to how they feel, and people are like, forget about your feelings. It is what it is. Drop your feelings, you know, delusion, everything going on. Now, I got a good friend. She, for the sake of argument, don't get angry. She's to the left. She's left. But I'm going to use left and liberalism interchangeably, just to keep everything simple. Even though liberals have took the meaning of liberal and went way left with it. I didn't leave liberalism. Liberalism, the definition left me. Okay? The definition went pew. Liberalism means smaller government, depend more for yourself, not bigger government, and the government is all in your life, giving you everything what you want, and you do nothing for yourself. Now, yeah, I'm generalizing, and a tad bit of hyperbole. Yes, I'm being hyperbolic. Yes, but it is true. Now, my friend, let's say, let me go ahead and let me call her Green. Green is a liberal, and I'm a conservative. I believe in free market capitalism, and she loves poking fun at me. And I call her socialist slash communist and say, let the government be your father. Oh, please don't. Like, look, it's a joke. Now, we can have great conversations about many things, but when it comes to politics and we get down to the issues, we're fundamentally different. Like I said, I am a free market capitalist. She pokes fun at me and calls me a corporate capitalist, which I am not. I don't believe in that. Those dirt bags need to go. Lehman, you shouldn't have started to begin with. But by me being that and her being a liberal, and the way I move and the way she moves are two different ways, but we're really good friends. I believe in, if there is a business that no one patrons, it needs to go. But she has a belief, give it more money, give it time, maybe do a little something here, do a little bit of something there, and then it will uh, work out. No, I'm like, no. The the market said no. You're not taking your dollars and you're not buying the products. Let it go. Let it go. But that's her. She has that diplomatic streak to her. She has that. Um, it will be sunny tomorrow. Me, I'm like, if it's raining today, hey, it might rain tomorrow, but I'm gonna have my umbrella. So now, what's interesting is immigration. Now, we're fundamentally different on immigration. Well, more so. My thing is this, and my other videos, I say the same thing. I'm very consistent. I say, come here right. That's it. You don't want no one coming to your country in no kind of way and having a handout and asking for handouts. Now, and don't get upset. Don't get mad because that's what's being done. My money that I work for is going to you and you have no legal standing. But she is like, well, their country, they're having issues and and we should do everything what we can for them. And I'm like, we give 140 countries money every year for democracy. What the heck are you doing with the money? That's my thing. They're taking my money out of what is it? FIC. FIC. They're taking money out of my, whatever checks. People are taking money out of their checks every 2 weeks that goes to the government to fund this stuff. Now, my thing is this. Did you go to the right door? Because there's a door that has entrance and bleeping lights. Not for you to go to someplace else and then build your own, and then open your own door and enter that way. Nah, no. Wrong. This is a country that has rules. It's not the wild, wild west. But she looks at it differently. She looks at it tulips and daisies. And I don't. I see the weeds. No. No. But we're good friends. Now, let me see. Where am I at? Wait a minute. Now, here's an interesting one. Here, the ukulele and the rushing waters disagreement. Just the fact I can't say what I want to say and I have to be careful and I poke at her on this. You can't. You're trying to take away the freedom of speech, and because I can't say these countries' names, you look on a map and that's what it says. But when I say it on social medias, I can't say it because it's against guidelines. Well, okay. Then if that's company guidelines, then and I can't say certain things, even though that these things that you could find on a map and it's not upsetting anyone, you're not disparaging anyone, any of those things. But you want me to pay. Let me not go there. Let me just leave it alone. She has a feeling that we need to intervene. I have a feeling we had no business to begin this. We had no business to begin there. We had no business there for us to be there to begin with. We had no business there, Joe Biden. We had no business destabilizing that ukulele country. We had no business doing that for NATO for whatever their reasons were. But she seems to feel on some level, not that deep down, but she feels that we could do more. I'm like, well, they got $200 billion out of us. No accounting. Zelensky's wife was going around Europe, going shopping, spending $100,000 there, $100,000 there, and I want to know where my tax dollars are. Where is it? Zelensky, where's my damn money? But she sees things differently. But even though that we fundamentally see things differently, we're still friends. Let me see what else. NATO. My thing is this: NATO made an agreement to exist because the Soviet Union exists. So you had the NATO and the Warsaw Pact. The Soviet Union is gone. Why does NATO still exist asking us for money? You made an agreement, NATO and all those countries after World War II, and they're like, okay, we're going to have this buffer zone. This right here is a buffer zone. Okay, I have nuclear weapons here. There's nuclear weapons here, but what is here is to keep capitalism over there, and you keep socialism, communism over there. Let's have this right here in the middle, and we all are fine. Now that's the agreement. You sat there, you wrote it down, and you signed it. You signed it. Everybody had their signature on there. Peaches and cream, right? Yes. Well, she seems to feel at some level, and maybe she might feel differently now, but on some level she felt that NATO still exists because the Soviet Union can come back. And a lot of other people say the same thing that are liberal, um, left, say the same thing to some degree. I'm like, hey, um, the Soviet Union no longer exists. Since it doesn't exist, NATO shouldn't exist. And NATO is out of control, and no one's putting a leash on it. Now the economy. She is more economically liberal and economically conservative. I think that we ought to stay in the confines and the money that we have and don't spend more money. She thinks that we could give more money. I'm like, look, my thought is this. If the United States is giving money, our tax dollars, to these countries for democracy, let me see, El Salvador gets what, 150 million, maybe a little bit more than that, but you can't keep your people there. What are you doing with the money, El Salvador? That's just the first place that I thought of, that I remember the amount of money that the U.S. gives. Now, here's the kicker. She seems a little, well, people come here, okay. However you get here, whether legally or illegally, I'm not even going to get into that because I talked about that. But then you take the money, because we're already giving your country money. But you take the money that you work here and take the money, the US dollar, out of circulation here and you send it someplace else, that money's no longer here. That causes a deficit to where we're going to have to print more money. And the more money we print, the more money you send. I got a problem with that. She says, well, their governments are having issues. Their governments are corrupt, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, the most corrupt country in the world is the United States, but they have no problem leaving a smaller corruption and coming to a bigger corruption. I mean, it is what it is. And she's of the mindset and says, well, then, well, let them flourish here. I'm like, okay, they do flourish here. Here's the issue. You left your country to come here, but you do nothing to fix your government here. You have a lot of power up here. You got organizations, La Raza, the National Council of Latin Affairs. You have all these organizations and you don't do one thing in your homeland. I find that despicable and disgraceful. That's just my personal thing. She thinks that I'm being a bit too harsh. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Do you see what's going on? It's to the point to where now everyone is coming. Now we have 7 million people that have crossed the border. Now, how many people? Let me look up how many people are in El Salvador, just for informational purposes. Okay, there are 6.314 million people in El Salvador. Okay, 7 million people came. There is no one living in El Salvador. They all are up here. Hey, look, wait a minute. I'll show you my screen. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Look for yourself. You see that? 6.6,314 people live in El Salvador. Now, 7 million people came here on asylum. I they are illegal when they come across the Rio Grande. Now, when they come and say, I'm seeking asylum because my country is corrupt and I'm afraid in their gangs. Look, look, no. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You leave one country that has gangs to another country that has gangs. I mean, you can't make this logic up. You can't. We got a lot of gangs here, and plus we got way more people. We have over what 350 million, 350 million, 350 million and 700 Wait a minute, I'm not getting it right. 350 million. Let's include the seven. 357 million that we have now, because we got to include the 7 million that came here illegally slash asylum seeking slash until they get their process. There's 7 million of them. It's going to take 20 or 30 years to get to them all. But she thinks I'm being a little bit too harsh. I'm not. Now, we talk about Republican and Democrat. She's a Democrat. I'm an independent. You have to earn my vote. When I was a Democrat, I gave my vote freely to any Democrat, which was stupid for me. But I guess me being a Democrat and getting nothing out of it made me a tad bit conservative. But she, on the other hand, is a Democrat, more to the left, and not so much of a Democrat, maybe Green Party, but just having those two major ones, Democrat and Republican. So her ideology is along with the Democratic platform. Mine, even though I'm independent, but the way they change definitions and move things, I'm Republican, just by the platform. Now, we talk about LGBTQ. My thing is LGB. Everything after that is completely different. That right there, everything after that is complete confusion. You're gay or you're lesbian. You feel comfortable in your body. You're bisexual. You go both ways. You hit both teams. No pun intended. Just explaining it. Now, you have all the other stuff. That's where, in my opinion, and look, I have a right to my opinion. Now, I'm going to get to one transgender women because transgender women, you all do too much, do way too much when you don't have to. Um, in a nutshell, in my opinion, based on what I see you do, you're trying to replace women. Now, there are some transgender women that I just love because they're like, I'm a transgender woman, not a woman, but a transgender woman. But there are those of you who are doing way too much when you don't have to, but you do. She is like, well, hey, all of it is all of it, you know, to each its own. And for the most part, my thing is, okay, to each its own. But when you start talking about what I say has and I can't even say the V word because if I do, I get something from YouTube or Instagram or Twitter. I mean, I can't say the V word because it causes you to have an issue with it when look. So that right there. Now, racism. She talks about racism, how, Ron DeSantis. Now, I agree with that. I agree with that. Um, Ron DeSantis, I'm wondering if this is your true ideology, Ron, or are you doing someone else's bidding and you're just a front man looking really, really unintelligent on so many different levels. But to me, racism is not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. It's not. You're not a roadblock. You're not a hindrance. You're none of those things. But now, when you take your racism and then you put it into some type of action to where your action based on and this is right here, it's true, your cowardness, cowards. If you're a racist, you are a doggone coward, straight out coward, and you don't compete. And because you don't compete and you're a coward, you want to get mad and come and hurt other people because of your lack of ability to do whatever it is. And insecurities. Now, she thinks that racism still has a large stronghold. And maybe there may be, possibly, but it doesn't stop me from doing what I'm doing. I'm going to achieve whatever I'm going to achieve. Now, I may have to take different, you know, ways of getting there, but I'm not going to let no damn coward stop me. She, on the other hand, wants to fight um, racism. My thing is this: I get you want to fight racism, but they got choreography in schools. They're not learning ABCs and one, two, threes. They're learning about sexual positions in an elementary school. And I think that right there is more important than, Ron DeSantis, which you could easily vote him out. Well, okay. But you could do a lot. But I think the children's minds are way more important than racism. Now, when they start pulling out guns, that's something different. We might want to go ahead and just have um, a Hatfield and McCoy situation. If you can't get along, then simply let's get it on. That's my stance. her stance is, well, let's find a way to do things politically, and she's a gentle soul, and she tries to find the good in everyone. My thing is this: if you look like a weed, you smell like a weed, and you walk like a weed, you're a weed. She tries to find good in everything. But I say all of that to say, even though that we are politically different, even though that we are philosophically different, that's my girl. And she's my ride and die. And if I were, I call her my sister, even though that she's not my biological sister. But hey, some of us, we have to build a family, and you know what I'm talking about. Some of us, some of our best friends are really our sisters or our brothers because we're that close. And then we have our biological families that we're like, how did I get caught up in this family? What did I do to deserve all? What did I do to deserve these people? But it happens like that. But I say all that to say, can a conservative and a liberal be friends? I say yes. Remove the ego. Keep in mind that everyone can have an opinion and you can shake hands and still be friends. It is so contentious now that you have to, and this is more on the liberal part, and yes, it is you. Matter of fact, let me pull this out. Let me share my screen again. I meant to show this. Look, this guy's Mexican. And if he can look at a situation and be truthful, you are fine in my book. Fair use, fair use. This is oh goodness.
Amen. You're gonna vote for Trump in 2024.
Yeah.
Why?
He loves Mexicans.
What makes you say he loves Mexicans?
He talks a lot about us. He thinks a lot of us. So hey, he loves them.
So you love Trump.
Yeah.
So you're gonna vote for Trump.
Yes, sir.
What about when he said most Mexicans are crossing illegally? What do you say to all that?
It's true.
Damn!
Is it a lie? It's true. Just because President Trump talked about people coming over here illegally, and then you got a problem with it, and then you see them doing it, and you got a problem with it, and you see them doing it, and you don't call it out because you. Please. The man said it. He said it's true. He's Mexican. He said it's true. So, if he can have no problem, if that man has no problem saying it, why do you? I know why. Because you don't want to look like a racist by stating the obvious. Because brown people are doing it, and you but you can be friends. You can be best friends. You can have one of the best relationships. You can even have a partner or a husband or a wife that has political views that are different and still love each other. You can have friends like my friend, I'll call her Green. And we are really good friends. That is my sister, but we see things differently. We have no ego about it. And that's it. The ego. Because your ego is hurt because you can't accept the fact that someone doesn't see the world the way you do, you have an issue. And because you have an issue and your ego is hurt, now all of a sudden we can't be friends. because I have a different thought, because I have a different political ideology, because I vote for Donald Trump or I vote for Biden, we can't be friends? That's shallow. But on that note, we can be friends. Yeah, we can. But I want to thank you because you could be anywhere in the world in which you are. I want to thank you for being here with me. Please like, subscribe. I'm trying to get to a thousand subscribers. I'm trying to get to the next point. Help me out. Thank you. I want to thank you for stopping by because you could be anywhere, but you decide to stay here with me and listen to my video because politics runs the world. Now, whether if you agree with the politics or not, put something down in the comment section. Whether if you agree or disagree with me, that is okay. We can agree to disagree, or we can agree to agree. So please help me